In this video we'll demonstrate the new feature in the UX component and also the grid component for version 12 that allows you to display pop-up menus. So you can see here we have a UX component with a button, and when I click this button I get a pop-up menu, and the menu basically has a hierarchy, and when I make a selection on the menu I can execute any JavaScript that I want. So let's go back now and see how this was done. So you can see we have a standard button control there on the UX component, and when we go to the on click event we can see that we're using action JavaScript to define the action for this button. So if we edit the action we can see that we're using a new action called menus, and then if we open up the builder we can see that the method for defining the menu has been set to the menu builder. You can also basically define your own JSON definition, or you can write an XBasic function that will compute the menu definition on the fly. So for now we're going to use the menu builder because that's the simplest of the options. So we'll bring up the menu builder, and you can see here we have our menu. So the first item on the menu is grids, and that has 2 children. Then we have reports, it has 2 children, and then we have miscellaneous, which currently doesn't have any children. So if we look at the item grid there, we can see that we've defined an icon. So this is the icon that we chose, which is this image of a grid component, and we chose that from the list of built-in Alpha 5 images. And then similarly for reports we chose an icon, but we haven't chosen icons yet for the leaf items here, customer and products, etc. But we could just as easily have chosen icons for those leaf nodes. We also haven't yet defined the event handler for the click event when you click on these items. So for example, if we were to go here now and just go simply here and say alert hello, then when we click on customers we'll see now that we get our JavaScript firing. So there we go, we open the menu and there we see our alert. But obviously we want to make that action a little bit more interesting. So, but before we do that, let's just go take a look at a few of the other options that we have here. So you can see that we also have an option called pointer and animation. So I'm going to turn animation on, and then the pointer I'm going to set the pointer position to auto. So it'll be easier to demonstrate this than explain it. So let's go ahead now and run it. So again, now you can see that when I press this now there's a little pointer that points to the element that opened up the menu. So you can see it over there. There's the pointer on the top of the menu, and also when I open up the menu now you can see that the menu is animated, so you can choose different animation styles for the menu. Also you can see that the menu is opening up underneath the button that clicked it. So we'll go back to design mode here, and we can see that there's a position property that you can choose, and let's go and say that we'd like to position it relative to the button that was pressed, and we'll make it a flyout. So we can also choose an absolute position, which lets you position at an explicit XY coordinate. So now we'll go here and click the button, and now we'll see that the menu pops out as a flyout, which means it's to the right of the element. So now let's go and actually define an action to open up, say, a grid called customers. So we'll go back now and go to the back to the builder, and go to our menu definition, and then go to customers, and then the on-click event. And we can write the JavaScript ourselves, but obviously it's much easier to use action JavaScript. So we're going to use the ability to create JavaScript actions and call a JavaScript action directly from within this editor. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So now we're continuing our discussion of the menu action. So let's go now and create a new JavaScript action. So we'll just call it open customer grid, and then we'll go and define our action. So our action is going to be open a component. That's going to be the grid component, and we want to open up the customer grid, so we'll go there and choose grid customers, and I could choose all linking and filtering options if I wanted, but I'm going to just leave those off for the time being, and then I'll go ahead here and click OK and then save. So now we've defined this action called open customer grid, and now what we want to do is in the on click event for this menu item we want to play that action. So we go here and we say play that action over there. So now we're going to do the run action, and there's the specified name of the action that we want to run. So now let's go over to working preview. I click my menu, I see grids, customer grid, and then the customer grid opens up. So you can see now that the items, the actions for the menus can be arbitrarily complex, and you can use the full power of Action JavaScript to create your event handlers. Now let's just go back and look again at the menu definition here, and we can see that in addition to the on-click event, each menu item also has associated with it a security group and a ShowHide expression. This is a server-side ShowHide expression. So since it's a server-side expression, you can use session variables. So this means that basically you can show and hide menus in the menu items in the menu based on the user's security group. And if, for example, you disable a branch node in the menu, that item and all of its children automatically get removed. So let's just go, for example, over here to just demonstrate, and go to reports returns and set a server-side expression, say 1 = 2. That's going to hide that item. So now when we go over to run the component and we open up the menu, we can see that on the reports item that the item for which the server-side expression was false has been removed. So this is powerful because your menus can be highly dynamic based on the security group of the current logged in user. So what we've demonstrated now is how easy it is to create menus and to populate them using the menu builder. So what we're going to do in the next video is talk about how the menu can also be populated using an explicit JSON string, or by writing an XBasic function that creates a menu definition on the fly. Thanks very much for watching.